Greetings, traveler.
Hey everyone, we are here with the final day of all the new cards. Let's take a look at what's been revealed today. We're taking a look at dragons first. We have the Hired Mount, a 3-drop 3/5, activate 2, get a random Chroma Drake. Now, Chroma Drakes have been removed from the pool, but you can still generate them with these specific mechanics. Similar to how, let's say, buddies might not be in the season, but you can have something like ETC generating buddies. So similar to this, can't roll them into tavern, but you can still generate them through other mechanics. I mean, this is fine. This is basically chef's choice, and you know you're getting a Chroma Drake, which especially if you're about to flow 2 gold, is most welcome. This is great once it becomes golden because the activate cost does not go up, but you do get double the Chroma Drakes. So if you have 2 of these, you're paying 4 gold for 2 Chroma Drakes. But if you have a golden here, you pay 2 gold for 2 Chroma Drakes, which is obviously much better. So yeah, maybe even, you know, a cheeky little Reno target early on. You go 3-on-3, you buy this from the shop, hero power it, activate it. Now you have this thing on the board with 2 Chroma Drakes. Next turn you push the button again. That seems fine, right? Runic Arcanist is a 4-drop, start of combat, cast Shiny Ring. We saw that Blue Whelp is returning, which can give you early spell power, and I'm guessing that's where you would use this. If you say have 1/4 on your spells, then getting +1/+4 on everything start of combat is a great way to use that early spell power that the Whelp is providing you. So for anyone that hasn't seen the big video yet, we'll link to it somewhere here, right? That video covers all the returned, removing old cards. For instance, Blue Whelp being one of them, and the Chroma Drakes going out. I'm not repeating that all in this video, but make sure to check that out if you haven't already. Bronze Time Walker is another one of these value generating rally effects. I mentioned that in the previous video, but they're really adding that to lots of different types. So it seems like tier 4 is the place to be early. So I would say it's very likely that we're going to want to go tier 4 on turn 5, because if you get one of these cards that has this rally generate a card, or other effects that's not necessarily rally, but you know, it still generates a card every turn, that's a huge advantage. Right now you get a lot more bang for your buck. Even 4-on-4 in certain situations on certain heroes. Let's say you're a Xeric, you can get this thing and then copy it, and now you're generating lots of Chroma Drakes, and you have money, and then the battle cries also stabilize you. Quite good. Sky Hatch Runaway is a tier 4 that does activate 1, trigger friendly minions rally. So we get a rally here. That's definitely not bad. That means you're getting a Chroma Drake for 1 gold. That is about as cheap as you should be getting that. So quite nice. There's also another rally here that we're going to be talking about. We have a rally here, which is the Crimson Vindicator. So this casts the Mighty Dragon Breath, which is a spell that works really well with spell power, because it's going to cast again if it's a dragon, it's going to cast again if it's Divine Shield. And what do you know? This is a Divine Shield dragon. What a coincidence, right? So this will make itself quite strong. And then when you have the Sky Hatch Runaway on your board, you can trigger this during the combat phase, right? Really taking advantage of that spell power. So indeed making that early spell power from the Blue Whelp even more important, because we do have to remember that the Felfire Conjure has been removed. So that is the other spell power dragon, the end of turn. That's no longer in. So we're gonna have to find other sources like the Blue Whelp to pump the spell power. Then for mechs, we've got Rescue Bot. Taunt Death Rattle, get a repair job. Very nice, going 3-on-3 with a Lich King, with a Terran. If you get this, you're strong immediately, because repair job is +4/+8. So if that goes off twice, you're getting 8/16. That is silly. You probably wouldn't put it on this guy because you want him to die. It's already got taunt, which is great. You can reborn that maybe with a prosthetic hand, which I believe was moved to tier 3. Yes, I think so. So you could technically roll it in the same shop, making it, I mean, oh my god, you're Terran, you roll this thing, you reborn it, you hero power it. It's like, oh my god. That's like so much tempo. You lose the first round, you don't lose after that. So yeah, that's definitely some shenanigans that are available with this card. Spark Snapper is a 4-drop. Whenever you play a mech, magnetize a 3/3 satellite to it and improve this. So this is probably something you do want to consider buying if you have a mech in the same turn, because just playing a 3/3 and then not doing anything with it the same turn kind of sucks. But if you play a mech, then you're effectively buying a 6/6, and you might even do better because you might pick up something like Deflectobot, and now you have a big shield, and then you can magnetize to that mech to then trigger this again, because this says when you play a mech, magnetize a 3/3 satellite to it. So magnetizing should probably still work, where I think it's going to do something where you put it on the table and then before it magnetizes, this thing will proc on the magnetic, making the magnetic bigger, and then it slides on top of the other minion. So yeah, I mean, that's very decent tempo if you can pair it with a mech, and then any satellite afterwards is going to just be better. So it's going to go 3 and then 6 and then 9, etc. Drone Duplicator, activate 1. The next magnetization to this minion this turn is doubled. It's the next magnetization to this minion, right? So you would have to play a mech, which then triggers a snapper, but you have to play the mech on the duplicator, which... oh, wait, maybe. I don't know. If you have a magnet, let's say you have a 2/4, the shield, and then you have +6/+6 from this. Would the 6/6 also double with this? That's kind of interesting. This is magnetizing on top of the magnetic, which is weird. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Either way, I think the main one here is a Quartertron, right? Like early on, if you get a Quartertron, you can use this for double oil. Fantastic. You could even consider, like, if you have this with a Quartertron in the shop in your Reno, just like hero power this thing and get 3 Quartertrons and then try to get another one next turn. That's already +6 gold. Either way, it's it has potential for sure. You can also like double spell power, etc. You can actually also use this to stabilize with the automaton summon. I don't think that one's out, right? No. I'd have to like double check my removes, but I don't think so. So that's another good way to stabilize with this. Glambot we talked about in the big reveal video because it was in the blog post. Whenever you cast a spell on a mech, magnetize a 6/6 satellite to it. So yeah, this is more a stabilization thing because it doesn't improve. But yeah, you can absolutely get this early, cast some spells, get a lot of stats on a shield, and you could also stack these, right? Because you have, let's say, a golden and a regular one. Now you're getting +18/18 per spell cast, and then you can use Belinda to double those spell casts, and that does add up. But to compare that to this guy says improve this, so he just keep getting better. This thing is it's more of a utility drone setup, I would say. Yeah, we talked about it as well in that video. So this is, I guess, not to get a lot of stats from the magnetics, but to get a lot of magnetics, because it's easier with this one to spam magnetics and to then take advantage of that with utility drones. So yeah, that's probably how we're going to be using this. Stack magnetics and then pay off with utility drone. Now we've got new Murlocs. Breakout Mastermind is essentially a TAD every turn because you activate it for 2, you get a random Murloc. TAD you buy for 3 gold, but you sell it immediately, or not immediately, but you recoup the 1 gold. So this is essentially the TAD effect. You do play fewer Murlocs, so for things like Bream Counter, it is worse. But it is recur. You can just recur this, right? So or this, you can do this every turn. So yeah, I mean that's definitely interesting. Again, to fill out your curve, to assist with Bream, there's several other mechanics like Flurk that would love to get extra Murlocs. Twilight's Tidehunter is a new 4-drop. Whenever you cast a spell on this, give the leftmost minion in your hand 6/6. So there's going to be a new theme here with spell casting. I'm going to cover the next card. All right, sorry, this card at the same time because it's kind of like a package deal, I think. Whenever you cast a spell on a Murloc, give Murlocs in your hand and board 3/3. So this guy combined with this guy, whenever you cast a spell on this guy, it'll give 9/9 to the minion in the hand and then 3/3 to the other Murlocs. I don't know if that's going to be enough for hand buff Murloc to suddenly be viable because, again, we are not really scaling the scaling, and a lot of other strategies, such as shop buffing, for instance, they do scale their scaling. So here we are stuck with this fixed number of 6/6 and 3/3, and usually, again, speaking from experience, that's not enough. So I'd be happy to be proven wrong. and then suddenly this is good. I guess the fun thing here is you can stack these, so you can have, like, let's say if you have 2 golden of these, then you get 12/12 to all your Murlocs, both in your hand and the board, whenever you cast a spell, and then you can Belinda that to double or triple it. So again, that is nice, but probably not enough. It's really hard to call without playing with it. All right, we're gonna have to see, at least in the mid game, right? This is like, if you're in a position where you have a lot of spells, this is a huge tempo boost. Let's say you play this and you get a foodie in the same shop, you can use the foodie to get 4 gems, and now you have plus 24/24 on the minion in your hand, right? That's a very, that's basically +6/+6 to your gems in that moment. You know, not quite, but almost. So probably more for a stabilization early. Then Kelp Keeper we already covered. It's Shudderwock on a stick. Pretty fun, especially if you have Bran, right? Way more effective. But I love these activate things, right? Anything that makes it easier to spend your gold, gives you a little bit more options. Just sounds like a lot of fun to play with this guy. Gearfin, at the end of your turn, get 2 1-cost Tavern spells. So that is the synergy here with the Tide Caller, with the Tide Hunter. The 1-cost Tavern spell, very likely, well, I guess not very likely, but somewhat likely to have a targeted component to it, so you can use it on a Murloc to trigger, but you can also get something like Overconfidence, Coin, Careful Investment. Those are all 1 cost. Doesn't say tier 1, right? It says 1 cost, so the Evolve is also 1 cost, for instance. So yeah, I mean, this is fun to take early because it's potentially economy. It's a 6/5. Yeah, I'm not going to be upset buying this early on tier 4. And now we've got some elementals. First up, we have Living Prison. Activate 1. You gain the stats of the next minion you buy this turn. That's basically an eat, right? But you'd have to buy it, so I don't know if I'm like super excited for that. Again, early on, maybe if you're just trying to smooth your gold, where you have like 7 gold, or you got 1 gold left, and or rather you have 4 gold, you could say, oh, I could just click this and buy the units from the shop. But my first instinct is I don't really love this. I much more like the 4-drop that we have right now, the Demon Elemental that just eats the biggest thing in the shop end of turn, because I don't have to pay for it. Having to pay for this effect feels bad. So again, might be wrong, but this feels not very good. Airballer, we talked about in the big review. This just seems like a lot of fun. It's a big payoff for ballers, because instead of just giving +1 attack or +1 health, this thing is +2/+2. So presumably every time you play a Frost or a Snowballer, your future airballers are getting 2/2, 2/2, 2/2, 2/2, right? So that seems, yeah, like this is going to be pretty big to cycle when you're playing ballers. Moat Custodian is a new 6-drop. Rally your elementals, give an extra 1 to this game. Now that's fun. I think elementals do miss that, right? Something like Mana Surge absolutely needs that consistent plus buff, and we've seen it in the past. There was this end of turn elemental that increases the effectiveness of your allies, and then you play that with Drakari, and that was combined with Lokolar. That was pretty fun. This is probably not as easy to farm with because it's not end of turn, meaning you can't enhance it with Drakari. But if you make it big, it could hit twice, and now you're suddenly getting twice the effectiveness. We've also seen that there's some ways to trigger rallies during the combat phase. So, sorry, you can attack things in the combat phase? Unheard of! In the shopping phase. So, yeah. I like this. I think getting this early could be a ton of fun for elementals. Also works with ballers. It's not like insane with ballers, because ballers already improve, and this doesn't improve the rate of improvements. It's kind of like you just play an extra baller, right? Or in this case, like 2. Unbound Tempest is a new 6-drop. After you play 3 elementals, you gain the stats of the highest health minion in the tavern. So this is essentially Acid Rain, but not as good, right? Because when Acid Rain was released, I think it was 3 rolls and you gained the stats of the highest of the rightmost, which was basically the highest stat, because the buffs for the elementals used to go to the rightmost, right? We're talking about Engine, for instance. We're talking about that tier 5 elemental guy that also does that I can't remember the name of. Good luck, editor. Anyways, that was way better because rolling 3 times is a lot easier than playing 3 elementals. However, I think I still like this because it's really promotes that play pattern of you have Bran, you cycle a bunch of Tavern Tempests, it's just play, cycle, fun. And Acid Rain, while it was oppressive, was also very fun to play. Like, I found Acid Rain was very fun to play. You just got very, very big. Now, a lot of the time that was also due to Rylak and farming infinite rerolls. We're not going to have that this time, and this doesn't trigger off rolls anyway. So should be significantly smaller than Acid Rain, but should still be quite a large minion on your board. Acid Rain was stupid, right? You get like 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 stats quite often. And here we've got some new Nagas. Whenever you cast a spell on this, gain 1 health. So starts off with 2 HP, but a 3/2 depending on the minions that are in is actually not that bad to trade with. You have to be a little bit careful for tokens and shields. Like, Whelp is going to be out, but that was sort of the example where the 1/1 Whelp attacks into this, and then you have a 3/1 killing a 3/3, which is quite satisfying. So if you already have some kind of spell generation, like let's say you're Lady Vosh, that's kind of a no-brainer. If you're Mukla, you can cast spells on this, right? So in a Mukla lobby, that's quite good. So yeah, there's some uses for this for sure. KG Conjurer, activate 1, cast a random tavern spell. It will target this if possible. Yeah, I mean, that's Dr. Holiday hero power, I think. Just one gold for random spell. Now, the random spell in your hand is better because you can then keep it and use it whenever you want. This will play it right away. But then again, that's no problem if it's oil. So I don't think I'm going to go really too much out of my way to make sure I can cast this. But I think I'm going to treat this more like, oh, I have a gold left. Cool. I'll just get a random spell. So yeah, 6/4 in terms of stat line is solid. So you can definitely buy this. Absolutely. Torrential Ruiner is a new 6-drop. Whenever you cast a spell on a Naga, give your minions 3/3. Okay, now this can go pretty hard. We have seen this in the current expansion. When you have something like Postcard, you just generate an unreal amount of spellcrafts. And this doesn't say Tavern Spell, this says Spell. So if you have Belinda, again, it seems like it's going to be a Belinda expansion, which I don't think is a bad idea. I think Belinda is a lot of fun, and I think she got a bad rap with back-to-back, I think, which is going to be removed. So yeah, it's going to be strong to have Belinda in a lot of cases, but we need those cards for it to be fun, at least in my opinion, right? You need some cool combo that you can think of and aim for. So yeah, if you have a Belinda, every time you cast a spell, it casts twice. So let's say this guy is golden, now we're doing 12/12 to our board, and you can play multiples of these and then just generate a bunch of spellcrafts and gems and stuff, and then double cast. So that might be enough, right, to get large. But we're gonna have to really see. Even though, you know, this doesn't really scale the scaling, Nagas do have a lot of spells that they can play, and this doesn't even specify Naga. It says whenever you cast a spell on a Naga, give your minions 3/3. So it would buff the Belinda as well, or anything else you want to put on board. And then we've arrived at the last new minion type, or rather the last minion type that has new cards. No new minion type, sorry, baited. We have the Dead Bellringer. Activate 1, give a different friendly undead reborn, and then destroy it to gain 4/4. So this is just a free, well, not free, 1 gold to get a death rattle effect. That's how we can look at this. Very interesting if you have the Plague Runner Portrait, because Plague Runner Portrait, when you kill it off during the tavern phase, you get a Plague Runner in your hand. So this is a great way to farm triple Plague Runners, because you would give it Reborn, so it would come back on the board, and you would get it in your hand because you killed off a Plague Runner. So that is already sweet synergy. But also you can just use this to get any kind of death rattle, right? Any undead that has a beneficial death rattle, you can just pop that during the tavern phase, and then as a neat little bonus, this thing also gains +4/+4. So it seems quite fun. I would say the coolest way to use this early is with a Caretaker. If you keep 4 board slots, including the Caretaker, so 3 board slots apart from Caretaker, you can kill it off, get 3 skeletons, get a triple, and then the Caretaker is also going to reborn as a 3/1, and then you can just do it again next turn. It requires a lot of board space, but you can farm 6 drops like this. So potentially fun in that particular combo. If you have 2 of these, you can even do that twice in 1 turn. And then you can just like sell them later or something. Just get 2 6-drops. So interesting. Barrier Banshee. After a friendly minion is reborn, gain Divine Shield in 7/7. Okay, so I'm getting some Holy Mackerel vibes here, where this could be something that just gains shields the whole time. Now, the downside here is that when a minion is reborn, you still need to kill that off to then make space for, or rather to move on to your next minion to attack, so that can also reborn. So it's not as good as Holy Mackerel, where with Holy Mackerel, you would just have shielded units re-shielding your Mackerel. With this thing, you need reborns, so you need the minion to die and then reborn. So first of all, the minion can attack and not die. That's a problem. And even if it does die, you still need the Banshee to survive 1 more turn so that you can kill off your minion for the next thing to reborn. Now, I think if you have 2 taunted Barrier Banshees, and especially if you reborn them yourself, it's kind of a fun way to try and get that value. So if you have a lot of attack on your undead, the Barrier Banshee is going to regain Divine Shield, and even if it dies and reborns, you're still going to get some value out of it. So a little tricky with taunt, because you do need some good RNG, and you probably need 2 of them taunted, so they just can't kill the Banshee guaranteed while your minion is busy, you know, reborning and then killing itself off again. But there's going to be something here, right? Especially with the next card, which will be our last card for the season reveal, the Snazzy Phantom. After a friendly minion is reborn, it gives stats equal to its attack to the rightmost undead. So we can make this our rightmost undead, or even the Snazzy Phantom, and just have a big boy in the back. But essentially, it's not that hard to get like 100 or even 200 damage on your undead. So if you have a minion that reborns and it now has 200 damage and 1 HP, you add plus 200 to 200 to your backline. So especially in certain cases where we've seen undead damage climb to like 1,000, now you're getting 1,000 on your backline, which is kind of silly. So yeah, this guy seems like a crazy good payoff when you have farmed a lot of damage, because you have to keep in mind you can just stack these. So if you have a golden one, you get double the stats. So if you have a golden one and like another regular one, if you have 200 damage, you're gaining what's 600 every time something reborns. By that time, you have something on your undead board that can value trade, right? Which is quite powerful. So yeah, this seems good. We'll absolutely be interested in doing some cool unethical combos. Make sure to tune in, by the way, to the early playtests, right? We're gonna have early access for streamers and YouTubers. That's gonna be Thursday at 6 p.m. my time. So that's Central European, which is gonna be like what, 10 a.m. no 9 a.m. Pacific. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Definitely gonna be trying out this and other combos. All right, that's gonna be it for this season reel, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if there's anything I missed, just in general, cool combos, remarks, questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. I do read every single one of them. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the new season.